G'day, guys. Welcome. Finally, an opportunity. I think this is the last chance I'll get to sit down and do this review. If I leave it any longer, the window will close. It's been a bit of a long wait since the game finished on Friday. It's now Monday, and generally, I like to get them out, you know, within 48 hours, but I have been busy. It hasn't been deliberate at all. It's just been I've been busy, and every time I've sit down and do this, something has come up. And has that given me more time to reflect? Not necessarily. I am pretty much feeling the same as I did on Friday night. I post game, I was fine. I actually got on social media and had a bit of fun. A few tweets here and there. Went to bed, had a great night's sleep, had a really good weekend. I'm fine. I'm not fine, obviously, with where we're at. The season, as far as I'm concerned, is done. And I'm more than happy to declare that now. It's going to take something quite miraculous to change in the short term, and what that means is it's got to, it's something miraculous has to change in the short term, even to give us a sniff at playing finals. But I feel like it's going to have to be such a huge turnaround even to like have any real confidence going into 2024. And it's going to be a long wait. So I've almost clocked out, to be perfectly honest. Emotionally, I suppose I've clocked out. Even though I didn't go into the season with any great expectations, and you know that because I've shared that on here quite a bit. That I went into no expectations. Go back through the tapes. I just didn't see it, and I was looking for some real proof, and it's never come, and it still hasn't come, and we're going into round 12, midpoint of the season. And I feel like Vossi cleared out his contract. That's my gut feel, but I'm not 100% certain on that, as much as I was a couple of weeks ago. Friday night, it was. It didn't come as a shock. It didn't come as a shock at all, regardless of the Swannies' injuries, and they're a club which is built on something pretty special, and we know Horse is a good coach. Does it really matter if he's one of the great coaches? No, not this. I mean, who knows? But we know he is a good coach. You don't survive in the caper for that long as a senior coach unless you know what you're doing. He's a premiership coach. He's taken his team to grand finals. They've had their challenges and disappointments along the way, but he can coach. And he got the best out of that group that he put out in the park on Friday night. The move of Heaney into the middle. I thought Heaney would be the one to give us some real headaches because he had been a little bit down in his usual position across half forward, and I thought he would give him a spark. But he put him into the middle. He put him into the guts on Patrick Cripps, and he was as hard as a duck's beak. Wouldn't say he was everywhere, but he was hard at the contest. He was hard at the contest, and he was physical, really, really physical. Wick's the same on Sard. And there was a real physicality about the Swans with even some of the younger players that I don't think we necessarily cope with. Parker was angry. I remember one point in the first quarter. I can't remember exactly if it was one of our forwards. It was Jesse Motlop or Corey Durden. I couldn't be fucked going back over the tapes to watch it again. But I remember it happening midway through the first quarter, and Parker was getting stuck into. I'm pretty sure it was Motlop. Really, really having a go at him towards the boundary line. There was a stoppage, and he was banging into the back of him, and Sam Walsh just maybe he's just exhausted. Sam Walsh, he just does that, but he just walked past it. He saw it, but just walked past it. And I just thought to myself, yeah, we're going to try here, but we're not. Our game plan sucks, and we're a horribly skilled football team. And to try and get your head around that's nearly on impossible. The amount of mistakes that we made, but that continue on week on week on week, and to try and get your head around that is really hard. There to see, but to see your players not protect each other, and I suppose it's not even flying the flag. It's just creating a real physical presence, but then being able to back it up, with some real impact. Suggests to me that this group's not connected. I don't care. I don't think they're connected. It doesn't feel like they're connected. I know they'll be saying all the right things, and I'll be doing all what they think's the best behind closed doors. But I just don't feel the leaders have been able to connect this group across the board. There are just too many players that don't have an impact and sort of don't necessarily play their role. And I'm not worried for Voss or anyone at this football club, like in leadership positions, because they're all powerful people. And they'll land on their feet. But everything that he was brought to the club for, and I've mentioned this a few times, everything that he was supposed to have been brought to the club for, according to our CEO, Ryan Cook, was to build leadership and to build culture. And within performance. The football department, which translate into performance on field. The president and the CEO, they can control, leadership and culture, at that level. And it all, I suppose, molds into one. But the thing that he always apparently struggled with, all right, and this is what Brian Cook said, was the tactical side of the game. But he was brought here because of his magnificent ability to lead men and to build culture within a football team. And we don't see it from a system point of view, and that fucking stared us straight in the face and looked us in the eye as supporters again on Friday night against the Swans. It was as messy as you could get, and I know it was a scrappy game, but all our games are pretty much, they go down the same avenue. But now we're getting, and I know you can pick holes when you're losing. Again, you start to look for things that are potentially not there. But I don't see change in leadership. I don't see these players growing as leaders. You can make last year when we just dipped out. Those last couple of games where we got beaten by the closest of margins, and you could just maybe luck or a bit of system here, but that came down to steady heads and strong leaders and having the right. If that's Voss's strong point, that's not. That doesn't appear to be growing or flourishing either. Um, so this is it feels dire. Feels dire. And at the moment it is dire, but you just don't trust don't trust this board, and there's all sorts of shit happening today with Matheson and some sort of blow up in the rooms after the game, and that's just ugly in itself. And all that sort of goes back to what happened with Ross Lyon and the disconnect there as well. And I don't know. I don't like. I just don't like it. I don't like what we've become. I really don't. And spent so much time spruiking and selling false hope, which I never got sucked into. And that's the only thing I'm probably in the 4 or 5 years doing this channel that I've been, I suppose, relatively. I want this club to be good. I want it to be great. But yeah, there's something very smelly happening again. Very smelly. And it's we love some drama, don't we? And if we're not going to get our satisfaction from our football team in regards to performance, we then start to look for shit like this, and I don't know, we start to get off on it, I suppose, and that's what we've been conditioned to as supporters. It's a really, really vicious cycle that feels like it's never going to stop. So I'll be continuing to follow this team of ours, this club of ours. But I will never really trust or believe anything they say. Never. It just never happens. It just never happens. So it's pointless even going down the avenue of hope. So, folks, season done. Plenty more to continue to talk about. But no, I'm not hurting. So if any opposition supporter wants to jump on here and, get your rocks off because you're going to look at a tragic Carlton supporter crying, no, not at all. I follow a basket case of a football team, but they're not getting to me. Speak soon.